Alex London's novel Proxy is set in a distant post-cataclysmic future where technology has evolved rapidly, thanks to the unrestricted view of capitalism that they have placed on their society. Because their society was founded upon an extreme view of capitalism, the society has completely eliminated the need for the middle class, and now only the upper class lives in a height of luxury, while the lower class is almost eternally indebted, starting at their birth. Because their view of capitalism, the upper class, now known as patrons, are able to purchase the debt of the citizens in the lower class, who are now called proxies. Because proxies are faced with an unending cycle of debt, they are what is known as the working poor. Like proxies, many American citizens are stuck in a cycle of debt and are unable to escape it. Even though these citizens might have jobs, a lot of times they are unable to make enough to support themselves or their families, so they face a life filled with the stream of constant debt. Like proxies, they must work hard every day in order to attempt to repay their debt or just to keep from going into debt. In our society, however, our working poor don't have to face the implications of being owned by another person. In Proxy, those of the lower city are treated like whipping boys. Should their patrons be found guilty of a crime, the proxies must serve their patrons' sentences instead of the patrons themselves. While in our society this would be seen as slavery and be unconstitutional, people still look down upon the working poor and think of them as lazy, because they think that they are not working in order to make a stable living for themselves because they are still indebted. And oftentimes many citizens believe that the working poor are not working just to receive certain governmental benefits. However, their outlook is untrue. Many of the working poor living in poverty will at times be working 2 or more jobs. The main problem arises when they don't make enough to cross the line for what we know as the cost for living. Millions of working poor families in America end up taking on debt in a desperate attempt to stay afloat. But before too long, they find themselves in a debt trap that they can never escape. For working poor citizens, it might be hard to escape this trap that they have found themselves in. One way the working poor can look into escaping this trap of debt is actually to get a higher education. While at times it might seem out of reach, furthering your education will bring you more job opportunities. But how would you find the time or the money to be able to do so? One of the best solutions is to find an employer that invests in its employees through a tuition grant or a reimbursement plan. More often than not, most employers will help their employees get a higher education in the hopes that it'll help their business grow. However, if obtaining a higher education is out of your reach, another option is to discover, hone, and capitalize on your strengths and skills. When hiring people, many employers take into account the skills that an employee has to offer. By finding jobs that cater to your specific skills, you can increase your experience you have in that field of work in order to obtain better paying positions within the company. While the working poor do exist, contrary to popular belief, most of them are not lazy, but some of the hardest workers anyone will ever find. And by utilizing the skills and knowledge that they acquire, many working poor citizens can utilize their skills to create a life free of debt.